All right. Well, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your interest in visiting Nueva Vida, joining this trip from October 25th to November 1st. My name is Emily Scriver. I am the Executive Director of Development here at Nueva Vida, and I'm excited to spend the next little while with you, probably about 20 minutes or so, talking through, what this trip is, what we'll be doing, some of the logistics around it, and then answering any questions that you might have. And for those of you watching the recording, if you do have any questions when we get to the end, feel free to reach out to me by email or by phone. We can always chat a little bit more about it and I can answer any questions you might have. So I'm going to jump right in. I'll start with just kind of an overview, grounding this trip in what's happening at Nueva Vida, who we are, and really the heart for this experience. So Nueva Vida is a school and therapy center. We work with children and families impacted by disability in the community of Santa María de Jesús in Guatemala. And I call it our center. It's our school and where we run our therapy. Kind of our center is built around supporting our kids, supporting our families to learn, to grow, to communicate, and to be part of their communities. And right now it is a very, very busy year. Full and beautiful and fun, but we have 76 students with us from kindergarten through sixth grade, as well as 12 additional children from the community who come to receive therapy. So that's 88 kids on site, Monday through Friday, with 18 staff members. Our staff are teachers, occupational therapists, speech therapists, psychologists, social workers, admin, cooks, operational staff, across the board. So we have, lots going on, lots of people. It's, like I said, it's full, it's fun, it's beautiful. And this trip is taking place during the final year of school for us for 2026. So in Guatemala, school runs January through October. January through October. So this will be the last week of school, which is just a really special time and will be such a great opportunity to do some fun things, some activities, and just really celebrate our students alongside of our staff. And so that's what's going on. That's kind of a little bit of who we are. This trip is kind of centered around two main activities. One will be building a home for a Nueva Vida family alongside a ministry partner called Birdhouse. The other will be being on site at our center, doing some fun year-end activities. And I'll get more into those as we get along in the presentation. There will also be time for some cultural experiences, spending time with some of our families, some learning, some reflection as well, some devotionals, and just opportunities to unpack kind of what you're seeing and what you're experiencing. So those are kind of the three main activities we'll be doing. But really, more than anything, my heart for this trip is to be in the life of our community at Nueva Vida, not just observing it, but to be really alongside of our staff and our students and our families, participating in what's already happening, participating in what's going on, what our teachers are doing, what our therapists are doing, and what God is doing at Nueva Vida and in the community of Santa María de Jesús. So it's not just a come in and help and leave type of trip, but really a chance to step into the day-to-day life of Nueva Vida and intentionally get to know our staff and our students and our families. We believe that all of our kids, all of our families are created in the image of God and have value and have purpose and have worth. And so, this week is about stepping into that truth and being part of it and sharing that truth and that love with our families and our students, even just for a week. Something our staff are doing, our teachers and therapists are doing every day, but for you to be able to be part of that truth for a week as well and to demonstrate that, I think is so beautiful and so exciting. And so that's, a little bit of the overview, a little bit of my heart for this trip. And I'm going to jump right into some logistics. Before we get into the fun stuff, I have a few kind of logistical things to go over, just to give you a sense of, where we'll be staying, how we'll be getting around. So we will be staying at Casa de Fuego. It is a ministry actually in the community of Ciudad Vieja, if you're familiar with the Antigua Valley or Guatemala. And before I get into more kind of information about Casa de Fuego, I will say I am so excited. This trip is a partnership between three ministries, between Nueva Vida, between Birdhouse on Construction, and between Casa de Fuego, which is a hospitality ministry for hosting. And I think that's so beautiful and unique and special. And rare kind of in this type of trip to just see three ministries kind of coming together, all serving in different ways to facilitate something like this. And so it's beautiful, and I'm excited about this partnership, and I'm excited to be able to have this group stay at Casa de Fuego. I had the opportunity to visit in February. It was lovely. The staff are lovely. It's simple but very comfortable. It's kind of dorm style rooms like you see here in this picture. They all have their own private bathrooms, and we will be the only group on site at that time. And so depending on the makeup of this group, depending on, who's coming, we will have opportunity to kind of change the rooms around, if we have more individuals or more couples or more families, to make it fit our needs. But it is kind of this bunk bed style with a private bathroom, and then lots of shared spaces, courtyards, beautiful views of volcanoes from the rooftop, a kitchen area, a dining room area for meals and for, times of devotionals and reflections and things like that. Casa de Fuego does have staff on site. So they have a staff that cooks, and they have a cleaning staff as well. So they will be providing for us breakfast and dinner every day. And then we'll be doing lunch up at Nueva Vida at our center during the week when we're there. So that's kind of where we'll be staying. It'll be a space, to rest, to eat meals, to gather as a group. Really lovely, comfortable space. And then we'll be up at Santa Maria Monday through Friday. As for transportation, we will coordinate all of the transportation. So both to and from the airport in Guatemala City to Antigua or to Ciudad Vieja, where we'll be staying. That trip can take anywhere from 1 to 2 hours, depending on traffic in the capital city. But we will coordinate all the transportation for airport pickups, as well as all of the getting around that we will need to do up to Santa Maria, to cultural activities, to Antigua, kind of that will all be covered, and then back to the airport as well. So you won't be navigating on your own by any means. And we'll chat a little bit more towards the end as well, just about kind of that airport and flights and all of that. Yeah, when I get through what will be the good part in a little bit. It's all good. It's all good. But when I get to the fun stuff. But still, before I go through the fun stuff, I have one more thing. And there's just a few practical considerations, accessibility considerations to keep in mind as well, because this will be a fun and full and very active week. It will have a range of experiences, from construction to probably piñatas, to crafts, to tortilla making, to weaving. There will be a range of activities and opportunities, but it will be very hands-on. There will, of course, be flexibility in the types of tasks that people take on. Lots of flexibility and opportunity, but it will be a physically engaged environment. And Nueva Vida itself, our center, is accessible. However, the communities around Nueva Vida, both Santa María de Jesús and Antigua, can be more challenging, with hills, with rough terrain, with cobblestone streets. I did include this picture in here so you could see what the sidewalks look like in Guatemala. And it is also at a higher altitude, which can sometimes take people a day or two to adjust depending on where you're coming from. So there will be, like I said, a lot of flexibility, space to rest, opportunity to change things around if we need to. And we do have a local team to be able to support kind of throughout the trip, but did just want to highlight some of these practical considerations. Nueva Vida is a disability ministry, and we are committed to making this opportunity, this experience, as inclusive and accessible as possible. And I'm always happy to chat about accommodations and accessibility. And that can be something, if you have concerns or you have questions, we can talk about, later. We can set up a time to chat on the phone or by email, but did just want to highlight some of these practical considerations if you're considering this opportunity. Now, getting into more of the fun stuff, what we'll be doing. So like I said, there's kind of three main activities for the week. The first is construction, and this is in partnership with another ministry called Birdhouse in Guatemala. And so this will be building a home for a Nueva Vida family. And this is something that we started last year after the earthquake. So we had a series of significant earthquakes in July of 2025 that destroyed much of Santa María de Jesús. And that included the homes of some of our families at Nueva Vida. They either lost their home or they received significant damage on their home. And so we partnered with Tulio and Emily Molina, there's a lovely picture of them and their family there, the directors of Birdhouse, to identify several Nueva Vida families who could benefit from a house build. And we built 2 last year at the end of last year, and we still have 1 slated for this year. And so this is an opportunity not just to build a home, for a Nueva Vida family, but really alongside the family will be part, as will Birdhouse. And so I think it's a really, really beautiful and special opportunity to participate in that kind of as a group and as a community. The homes are designed by Tulio. So Tulio is an architect, is a Guatemalan architect. He designed these homes to be able to be put up in 4 or 5 days, and for really kind of rural, difficult conditions. And so you can see one of the houses here in this picture. This is a team that they have hosted, Birdhouse hosted, celebrating a house build. They are very, very comfortable with teams. They host them all the time. They're great at it. Tulio speaks English and Spanish, so he will translate on site at the construction site when we're there, and will kind of be the person in charge of running construction for our group for those who are on site. And we will be spending 3.5 days at the build site with Tulio and his team. So that would be Monday afternoon, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's likely we will split our group into 2 smaller groups. So, 5 and 5, or however it works out. So some people can be on construction, some can be at Nueva Vida, and then we will rotate and switch so everyone has the opportunity to do both things, to do everything that they want to do. So I'm really excited about this opportunity. And yeah, I think it's going to be so special and so meaningful to participate in. And I think you're going to love Tulio and Emily and their team. It's a really, really beautiful ministry. And yeah, I'm excited to work alongside them. So that's kind of one of the main activities. The second kind of main activity that we'll be doing is a vacation Bible school and year-end celebrations with our students. So most mornings, all mornings, we will be on site at Nueva Vida. Our students come to school 7:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. and then leave at lunchtime. And then in the afternoons, our teachers have, planning and prep time and things like that. So we will be running our activities in the mornings. We will be partnering with Nueva Vida staff to run a vacation Bible school for our students. And I am really looking forward to this because this is something we had hoped to do last year. But because of the earthquakes, we were interrupted. We had to take 2 months off of school. Our building was closed. And so the school year ran late, and there just wasn't time last year to do extras or fun activities or, take a week and do a VBS. And so this is a really special opportunity to be able to do that and celebrate with our kids and pour into them. And similar to construction, we'll be doing 3 days at VBS. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We will work with our Nueva Vida staff. Probably what will happen is, staff will lead on Tuesday and our group will support and participate. And then our group will lead Wednesday, Thursday, and staff will support and participate. And it's going to be a lot of fun. Think stories and games, music and activities. And yeah, just a lot of opportunity, like I said, to share with our staff, to pour into them, to lead the VBS. We will talk more about this again as our group solidifies. We will have some opportunity to do planning meetings and to talk more about accessibility and how we can adapt, VBS curriculum or whatever we're planning to meet the needs of our students and the diverse abilities of our students. But that is something we'll talk about as a group and then also with our staff as well. But yeah, just a really great opportunity to celebrate, but also to work alongside Nueva Vida teachers who are incredible and who are very excited about this. And then on Friday, we will end the school year with a kind of year-end celebration. So yeah, think piñatas, games, food, music, whatever we want to do. But just an opportunity to throw a party and again, to celebrate our students and just send them off to their break over November and December, just in a really fun way. So lots of fun things. There will also be time to do some prep of these materials. So that's where these afternoons come in. This will take place in the morning, and then we'll have opportunities in the afternoons to do cultural experiences, which I'll talk about on the next slide, but also to prep materials if we need to be, cutting things out, sticking things up, whatever we need to do, printing. So we'll have some flexibility and some opportunity to build that time into the week as well, so that we can just have a really great and well-organized VBS and party for our kids. And then kind of the third activity that we will be doing are cultural experiences and community time. And so really just an opportunity to enter into the lives of our families, the day-to-days of our families, the real Guatemala outside of Nueva Vida, and participate in part of daily life. So that will be things like tortilla making, having families come to Nueva Vida to teach tortilla making or weaving, washing clothing, all activities that are really prominent in the community of Santa María de Jesús. And so a chance to learn from families, to better understand their daily lives, and spend time with our families as well and get to know them. And like I mentioned, because we'll have groups kind of split into two, so construction and, VBS or on-site at Nueva Vida, we'll be able to rotate so that everyone is able to participate in one of these cultural experiences as well, and time with our Nueva Vida families. And then, like I mentioned, we will also use some of that time to prep activities. And then on Saturday, we'll participate in a coffee tour in a neighboring town. I'm really looking forward to this as well. The family that runs this coffee tour, it's Felix Poron and his family. They're a lovely, lovely family. Felix is a fourth generation coffee farmer, I think, at this point. It was, the land that he farms on was his father's and his grandfather's and his great-great-grandfather's, and just a really, local coffee plantation. We will experience, from the start of the plants all the way up to harvesting. And then we'll also have a typical Guatemalan lunch at his home with him and his wife and his kids. And it's just a really lovely experience to have and to learn more about coffee, and something that, our Nueva Vida families are also very involved in coffee producing in the agricultural sector. And so, that will be a really fun opportunity as well. We'll have free time in Antigua. We'll have some time for that towards the end of the week and on Saturday to explore Antigua and see that side of Guatemala. And then opportunities in the evenings for devotionals, for some guided reflections, for, debrief, and just chance to unpack the experience and what you're seeing and what you're learning, and sharing devotionals and prayer together. So those are, like I said, the three main activities, the bulk of the week, the fun part of it. Now I will get into just the cost and the details of this trip. And so the cost of this trip is $1,000. That's what I'm calling the program fee. And then that is not inclusive of flights. So $1,000 plus flights. That $1,000 covers all of the lodging, so our stay at Casa de Fuego, all of the meals throughout the week, with the exception of 1 to 2 optional meals out in Antigua, if you're interested. So, Saturday afternoon, after the coffee tour, there'll be free time in Antigua, and, there will be an opportunity to go back to Casa de Fuego for dinner that night, or to stay in Antigua and have dinner yourself at a restaurant if you're interested. And so that's what I mean by optional. But other than that, all meals, breakfast, lunch, dinner included in that, all of the transportation to and from the airport, all of our local transportation included in that, all of our cultural experiences, the coffee tour, all of that, those learning experiences, the translation, and the materials that we will need for the activities we'll be running. So that's all included in that $1,000 program fee. As for flights, we will have people book their own, because I do anticipate there will be people coming from different states, different places for this trip, but we will work very closely with those coming to book flights that work for you, that are reasonable for you, and that also, are reasonable in terms of transportation and getting in at a good time in Guatemala. So that will be an ongoing conversation that we will have as, again, participants kind of solidify, and we know who's coming and we know where they're coming from. So we will, chat about that in the future as we chat more. But We are asking for a $500 deposit by July 31st. So half of that $1,000 program fee by July 31st to reserve your spot. That way we can communicate with Casa de Fuego, with our transportation, with our cultural activities for who's coming, and get that underway. And then, like I said, once we have the group, kind of all the participants, we know who's coming, we will set up some meetings to talk about VBS, do some planning, do some orientation, things like that. So next steps, if this is something that you're interested in, the next step is to fill out the application. I have a Google form application that I will send at the end of this meeting. If you're watching this recording and you're interested in receiving that application, feel free to let me know and I can happily send that to you. It'll also be going out in our upcoming newsletter the end of May. Well, I guess this is going out in the newsletter too. So they're all coming out in the newsletter. So the link should be there if you're getting this from the newsletter. But if not, feel free to reach out to me and I will send you the link. So there's just an application form with, information, kind of what are your hopes for this trip, medical background, all of those things. From there, we would ask for the deposit by July 31st to reserve your spot. And then we have some waivers, some forms that would need to be filled out, liability and medical and things like that. And then the orientation. So those would be steps kind of throughout the summer and fall. I would be looking to run a few orientation sessions, probably end of summer, early fall into September, even early October, prior to the trip. And so we will be in conversation about that as we get there. But that is, that's it. That's the overview. Those are the next steps. No pressure to decide tonight or when you're watching this, but, I'd really encourage you to take some time to think about it, to pray about it, to chat about it, to see if it's a good fit. And, we just really hope you'll join us. We really see this as an invitation, not just to a trip, but really to be part of what God is already doing in this community at Nueva Vida, to come and get to know our staff and get to know our kids and see it for yourself. So I would love to see you there. I would love for you to join us. And I'm going to open it up now to questions if you have any. Turn off the recording. And again, for those of you who are watching this, if you do have any questions, please reach out to me and we can always connect.